What's up, y'all, and welcome to Homeward Bound, 450 days from renter to homeowner. For the next year and a half, I'll be taking you on my journey from renter to homeowner. We'll be tackling things like budgeting, credit, navigating the housing market, and everything in between. This series is for anyone who dreams of becoming a homeowner but feels overwhelmed by the process of becoming one. So let's break it down together. As a realtor, I've worked with countless clients who feel overwhelmed by the prospect of home ownership. Despite my professional experience, I myself don't own property yet. So in solidarity with many of you, I'm embarking on my own journey to go from renter to homeowner, starting from scratch. That is right, starting from point zero. How many of you are tired of paying rent and long to own your own home? Well, that's me too. So I'm beginning this unconventional journey, 450 days to go from renter to homeowner. Let's get started. Now, before we dive in, if you're interested in joining me on this adventure, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single step. Now let's answer that burning question. Can I actually own a home? Let's start with why home ownership. There are plenty of reasons as to why someone might want to own a home, be that stability, be that investments, be that tax advantages and building equity. Myself, honestly, everything that I just listed are part of my reasons. Now let's tackle some of these many reasons, starting with stability. Owning a home provides a sense of security in that you are no longer renting. You're no longer a slave to the whim of a landlord. You no longer have the uncertainty that your lease might not get renewed. You get to build your roots and in a community that you've chosen yourself. Investments. Investment is a huge reason why people choose to own a home. Every time you make a mortgage payment, you're building equity on the property that you own. Not only that, the property itself appreciates in value over time, meaning you can utilize that equity as leverage for tons of things, including home equity lines of credit, other loans. Paying a mortgage actually boosts your credit pretty well. Not paying it really mess up your credit as well, but we're not going that far just yet. We'll talk about some of those issues later on. In that same line of thought, owning a home provides tax advantages, such as deducting the mortgage interest you're paying every year. You can also deduct the property taxes from your federal income taxes as well, possibly saving you money or just reducing your tax liability. Customization. Homeownership allows you to customize your own living space. You can renovate inside as you see fit. You can paint, you can do all sorts of stuff to the walls that a landlord might not allow you to in the first place. That being said, HOAs might have something to say about what you do on the exterior of your home. However, we're not quite there yet. Again, one of those reasons that people choose to own their own home is the building of equity. The number one vehicle to stepping up in income and wealth class in America, at least, by and large, been through property ownership. Studies show that people that own their own homes are much wealthier than their counterparts that don't and that continually rent. Likewise, drawing from my own experience, I've seen so many times people getting pushed out of neighborhoods that they have been renting in for decades because they can no longer afford the crazy hyperinflation of rental prices that they've experienced. The elderly are particularly vulnerable to that kind of an experience. When they're no longer working and are on a fixed income, a lot of times they're no longer able to justify the rents. The same thing can happen with property taxes as well, although that's a less likely scenario because property taxes, by and large, if you own your home free and clear, are nothing in comparison to the rental prices that you would expect to pay. Let's talk a little bit about the different paths that people can take in terms of ownership. You can buy a single family home, you can buy a condo, sometimes you can even buy a townhome, which oftentimes represents something of a meeting of the middle between single family homes and condos. So let's talk about condos. Condos are a great option for single people and couples who want a low maintenance lifestyle and a sense of community. Oftentimes as well, they're much cheaper than buying a single family home. The drawback of owning a condo, in my opinion, though, is the actual appreciation of value. Condos and townhomes tend to not appreciate as quickly as single-family homes, and that's mostly due to the fact that they do not have their own land, which also appreciates. They're strictly based on the value of the improvements, or rather the specific box that you're living in. Single-family homes, on the other hand, are ideal for families, especially with children, people that want yards. They usually come with less amenities. Condos typically have like gyms and pools and all that good stuff. They also tend to appreciate in value much quicker. And also, if you plan on being a landlord and renting out your home, they typically offer a higher price, depending on the area that you're living in, of course. Townhomes. Townhomes typically combine both the elements of a single-family home and a condo, with less maintenance because most of the time they don't have lawns, as well as HOAs that can take care of some community-related features as well. Setting the stage. What is my starting point? All right, y'all, let me level with you real quick. I'm scared. Not because I don't think that I'm going to be able to purchase a home in 450 days, but because if I really want this to be an impactful series, I have to be open and honest with you about my financial situation. And I'll tell you, it's not great. I have to let you know what my income is. I have to let you know what my credit score is. I have to let you know what my expenses are, my debts, because if I want to be really honest and show you the process of purchasing a home and that it can be done in this timeline that I've set up, this 450 days, truth be told, a lot of people can do this in a year. A lot of people can do this in 6 months. However, I'm starting from such a low point, from true scratch, actually negative scratch, I would say. So here's the deal. My income is not bad. I am a realtor, first of all, y'all know that, but I also work for a restaurant. Combining both my real estate work and my restaurant work, I make about $3,000 to $4,000 per month, depending on what's going on in a given month. Sometimes even more, and I'm hoping that I have more months than less months. My expenses are around $1,750 per month, and actually, let me clarify. My bills are about $1,750 a month. That is not including my groceries or going out or my you money. We're really gonna have to take a look at what's going on there. My debts, all in all, I think I owe about $38,000 to various entities. So that's credit cards, that's student loans, that's taxes that I owe as well, all sorts of stuff. So we're gonna get into that as well. My savings. Let's just call it 0 for now. Now let's talk about my credit. Here's how we're really going to go about this. I'm going to tell you what it is right now. My credit currently sits at about a 550, which means I do not qualify for a mortgage regardless of my income, my debt to income ratio, and any other factor. I just simply can't qualify. This is the real task of these next 450 days, figuring out how to build my credit, how to save up enough for a down payment, how to pay down some debts so I can qualify on my income, and more. But where there's a will, there's a way, you guys, and this is exactly why I'm making this series. Why understanding your starting point is so important. Knowing your current financial situation is critical because it provides a baseline for you to understand and make a plan. How do you intend to track your progress if you don't truly have a solid idea of where you're starting from? So over the next 450 days, actually for this portion, over the next 30 days, I'm going to be budgeting. I'm going to be pulling up every single one of my debts and calculating how much I actually owe, the interest rates on those, and making a solid financial plan. What should I pay off right now? What can I afford to pay off later? What makes the most sense? That's it, you guys. Understanding your income, your expenses, and your debts helps you understand and identify areas where you can make improvements or cut back on your budget. It also helps you set a realistic goal and plan and helps you to achieve them in the long run. Basic budgeting tools and techniques I'll be using along the way. I'll be using a combination of budgeting tools and techniques to manage my finances, and that includes YNAB, or You Need a Budget, which is a great platform I've found that really helps set a realistic picture for you. The great thing about YNAB is that it shows you a few things. Number one, the age of your money. Are you stuck in a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle? If you have YNAB, it looks at reports and sees how long is it before you spend all your money. Is it 0 days? Is it 6 days? Is it over 30 days? If you're over 30 days, you're no longer living paycheck to paycheck. It means you get money and you apply it consistently. The other great thing about YNAB is it assigns a role to every single dollar that you earn. Meaning if I get $1,000, I'm not just willy-nilly thinking, oh, I'm just going to put it all in savings, or oh, I have to pay a bill. No, you are going to get a clear direction of, am I going to pay this? The other great thing about YNAB is that it assigns a role to each dollar that you earn. Meaning, if you get $1,000 in, you're going to assign a role. This $1,000, this much money is going to go to savings, this much money is going to go to investments, this much money is going to go to my bills, this much money is going to go to groceries. It helps you truly budget by not just saying these are the thresholds in which I'm going to spend my money. I'm also going to use the 50-30-20 rule, meaning 50% of my income will go to necessities, bills, and other things that I can't afford to miss. 30% of my income is going to go to wants and discretionary spending, meaning dining out, maybe putting some money into some hobbies that I have, etc., etc. And 20% of my income is going to go to savings, debt payments, etc. That being said, so that 50-30-20 rule is probably going to be amended in some way, shape, or form. I don't yet know how much I need to save in order to have a down payment for my property purchase, but we're going to figure that along the way. I'm estimating that my 20% is probably going to go up to 30%, and that my 50% might go down to 40%, depending on what is actually in my budget. But we're going to figure that out all together, you guys. The road ahead, 450 days of planning and action. Step 1. Budgeting. We're going to start by analyzing my current financial situation and setting a detailed budget. You guys, I'm going to look at how much I make per month. I'm going to be looking at what my actual debt amounts are. Right now I have a good idea, like I said, about 38K in debt, but how much of that is student loans? How much of that is a personal loan I took out years ago? How much of that are credit cards? And what are those interest rates looking like? Can I afford to pay off the ones with high interest? That way I have a little bit more money sooner. And do I wait on some of those other things? If I pay down more now, can I lower my monthly payment and thus get approved for a higher mortgage? Those are the questions that we need to answer. Also included in budgeting is setting realistic spending goals and identifying areas in which I can cut back. I need to establish a savings plan, and honestly, you guys, I think the first thing that I have to do is build an emergency fund. Right now, kind of running on fumes, and that's scary. There are some key milestones in this budgeting process. Number 1, in the next 30 days, I'm going to identify every single one of my expenses, debts, and my actual income. I'm going to set an actual budget within the next 30 days and identify how much money I can use for discretionary spending. Look, you guys, I have goals to buy a property, but that doesn't mean I can't have fun in my life. Over the next 90 days, I want to reduce my actual expenses, the discretionary spending, by 15 to 30%. Or at least identify a way in which I can have fun at a reasonable amount. Over the next 180 days, I want to actually build 3 months worth of savings as an emergency fund. Meaning if I stopped working, I wouldn't have to worry about anything for at least 3 months. Does that make sense? More planning. Credit score improvement. Y'all, like I said, I'm starting at 550. I already have kind of an idea of what I need to do in order to increase my credit. Number 1, I have several credit cards in collection. So number 1 is paying those off or at least getting things out of collections. But the real work is to obtain a copy of my credit report and review it for any inaccuracies. If there are any inaccuracies, I need to dispute those. Realistically, though, you guys, I've looked at my credit report probably 6-8 months ago, and I don't think it's inaccurate at all. I've just fallen behind in a lot of ways, and I've had several accounts go to collections. So paying those off and getting them out of collections is going to be really important. That's probably step 1. The other thing is I need to pay my bills on time. I need to reduce my credit card debts and make sure I'm maintaining a low credit utilization rate. Did y'all know that if you carry a balance of 30% of your limit, that actually can hurt your credit score? Next, another step to take is to get with a trusted lender who can review my credit report and tell me whether or not I'm currently eligible to buy a home. Secret is, we already know I can't. But a good lender should be able to tell me what steps I can take in order to get qualified. Key milestones for increasing my credit. Over the next 120 to 180 days, I want to increase my credit score 50 points at least and get up to that 600 score. Throughout that time, I want to maintain a low utilization rate, meaning less than 30% of my credit card limit. Fun fact, I actually canceled my credit cards years ago through a credit repair company, and so I don't actually have access to credit. So I may be obtaining a secure credit card or a secure line of credit in order to start building positive credit history. By the end of this year, I want to obtain a pre-approval from a lender saying I can now qualify for a mortgage. All part of the plan is house hunting, and we're not going to really do that until the start of 2025. My lease ends June 1st, 2025. That is when I plan to be living fully in my new home. Even though I won't be house hunting just yet, I do want to start getting an idea of what home prices are in my area. I don't really know what I can actually afford. So we're going to have to sit down, do the math, and see what it is I could qualify for. Maybe I don't buy a single family home for my first home. Maybe I end up buying a condo. Who knows? We'll just have to figure that out. Key milestones for this are narrowing down potential neighborhoods within the next 60 days in order for me to get a realistic idea of where I can buy or for how much I can buy. Once we get to 2025, that's when we're really going to start house hunting. So we're going to put that off for just a little bit. All part of the plan, closing on the home in May of 2025. So, like I said, I'm going to get with a trusted lender to get me a pre-approval by the end of the year. Now, pre-approvals usually only last 2 to 3 months, depending on the lender. However, getting a pre-approval can give me great insight into what I am qualified for, much more specifically than just the conjecture we're going to do from the math soon. Once I get a pre-approval, that's when we're going to start house hunting. That's when we're going to start looking for the right property for me. And then we're going to put in an offer, get inspections, get appraisals, all that good stuff. I'm going to coordinate with sellers, and as my own agent, I'm going to be able to find a home, you guys, and we're going to go through that process as well. That alone is going to take 3 to 6 months, more than likely, because I'm particular, and I know you probably are too. Key milestones, get that mortgage pre-approval by the end of the year. That still leaves me with time to save and raise enough money for a down payment and closing costs, but at least we'll know what we'll qualify for at that time. Other key milestones, closing on the property by May 2025. That way I can start moving stuff in and really call my place my home by June 1st, my 33rd birthday. So the culmination of this adventure is going to be moving in and settling down by June 1st, 2025. We're going to plan and execute that move, including the packing, the transportation, and the setting up of the utilities. We're going to furnish that home, although I have some furniture right now. It's only for a tiny little apartment. However, maybe we might get some more stuff. It just depends on what we save and what we're going for. But things are going to unfold as they will. Wrapping up, June 1st, 2025 is not only going to be my 33rd birthday, but a big housewarming. And I can't wait for us to celebrate. Y'all, I'm so excited to start this adventure with you, and I'm really looking forward to how this unfolds. So follow along. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can get updated on what's going on. I'll have new content for you regularly, and you'll be able to follow along and see how I'm budgeting, what I'm doing, my tips, tricks, and everything in between on how to actually become a homeowner. So that's it for episode 1. Are you ready to embark on this journey with me? See you next week.